All right. Hi, everyone. It's Darlene. And I'm a parent coach, as you guys know, and the founder of this group, Parenting Pathfinders. And I wanted to talk to you guys for a few minutes about something that happened with my kids yesterday. So I want to share this story because I think it's really helpful for you to understand the process of when you have a limit and then your kids don't keep the limit, and then there's sort of a consequence or restitution or whatever it is. So let me tell you what I'm talking about here. So in our family, we have a rule, and it's that you can play video games on school nights as long as your grades are A's and B's. But I don't check grades all the time because I just don't manage my kids' schoolwork. They're in 8th and 9th grade. So I only check grades every 5 weeks. So at the 5-week mark, depending on what your grades are, you can you can play video games Monday through Thursday. Now I'm telling you this not because I think this is the best rule ever. It's just my limit. And when I coach you, I help you figure out what your limits are, not just following my limits. Okay, so semester ended, and my kids didn't keep the limit. They don't have all A's and B's. So I had to deliver the news that they are welcome to use video games Monday through Thursday as long as they have A's and B's, and they didn't keep that, so there's not going to be video games. And I will check again in 5 weeks at the progress report. So that's a really long time, right? For the kids who've been used to having video games from Monday through Thursday to not have video games. So when I tell them, there's not going to be video games Monday through Thursday until the next 5-week report card, big reaction. So that's what I want to talk to you about, is when you give your kids a consequence. You can call it whatever you want, but when they make a mistake and they have to make up for it or fix it, they're not going to be happy when you give the consequence. And so what happens is a lot of big feelings come out when you say, whatever, you're not playing video games, you're not going to your friend's birthday party, you can't have dessert, like whatever your limit is, when you follow through with that and you deliver the consequence, your kids may have a big reaction. So that's what happened to me yesterday. I told the boys, listen, you're welcome to use video games as long as your grades are A's and B's. They didn't have A's and B's, so they don't have video games Monday through Thursday. And each kid handled it differently, but they still had a big reaction. So one was like lecturing, going into logic and trying to out lawyer me, and you know how they get when they're trying to give you all the reasons why your consequence isn't effective or why they should still be able to get what they want. So, So that was one. Now that I managed fine, right? I stayed calm, stayed in my, was really confident in what I was doing. Now the second kid though had a giant reaction, started to yell, insult, threaten. He just had a really big reaction. Now what happens to us as parents is when our kids are in the middle of their big feelings, we tend to start to narrow in on what it is that they're saying. And so if my son says you're stupid, you're not even a good mom, right? It's so easy for me to, what do you mean I'm not a good mom? Don't talk like that. That's not nice. And I start to spiral on whatever it is that they have said. So what I want you to learn to do, and what I have to practice doing all the time, is recognize that when I give a consequence, when my kids are experiencing the natural consequence of their decisions, they are going to be upset. And my job in that moment is to stay calm and stay confident that what I'm doing is important and valuable. The limit that I've set is, I set it for a reason. I'm going to follow through, and my kids are going to have a lot of protest. And if you can view it as protest in that moment instead of viewing it as disrespect, you're going to be able to teach your kids how to manage their big feelings. Think about a time when you had a consequence, like you ran a red light and you got a ticket, or you didn't pay a bill on time and you had to pay a late fee. Think about that ranting and raving that you're like, that's not fair, that cop, and that was stupid, and he shouldn't have been there, and it wasn't even illegal. I barely even ran that light. Or I was only 1 day late, right? Like, we hate consequences too. And we start to express our feelings when we have a consequence. We do. And so our kids are going to do that too. So what I want to help you learn is how to create a safe space for your kids to express their discomfort, their frustration, their sadness when you have a consequence. When you deliver a consequence, your kids are going to have a big reaction. I want you to stay calm in that big reaction. Sometimes they say things that are way off, and you may need to do something about it. But if you get focused on what they're saying in the middle of their protest, it's going to turn into a giant argument, and your lesson that you were trying to teach with the limit is lost, because it becomes about their behavior when they are experiencing the consequence. So learning how to neutralize your conversation in that moment and not start arguing with them back and convincing them that your limit is right. Well, only if you would have done this, then you would have, like with my kids, they're upset that they can't watch video games, play video games Monday through Thursday until the next progress report. So they're going to say all of their reasons that they think they should. And if I start trying to convince them that I'm right, and I start to lecture them and say, well, you know what? If you would have done your homework, if you would have studied for that test, if you would have let me help you with your finals, then the lesson I want to teach them about personal responsibility or whatever it is, that the reason why I set that limit is lost, because it turns into a lecture. It turns into me being the bad guy instead of their decision being the bad guy. Is that making sense? So it's really hard though, because your kids, when they experience a bummer, are going to push. They're going to take all of their anger and frustration and disappointment out on you. And you can do something about that. You can add another restitution for the way that they handled themselves. You can do that later, but not in the middle of the moment when they are protesting. When they are expressing big feelings, that is not the time for a consequence. That is not the time for a lecture. You want to stay calm, stay present, accept their discomfort and displeasure as much as you can. If you can be compassionate in the middle, like recognize that, not playing video games Monday through Thursday is going to suck for you. If you can actually get compassionate about it, great. If you can't, stay neutral. Don't get hooked in to their argument, to their, like, one kid will come out as logic and will want to hook you in to like having a debate about your consequence. The other one might attack you for your decision and say that you're like a bad parent or whatever. I mean, I got this yesterday. That's why this is fresh on my mind. So yes, staying calm is very hard. Staying present, staying neutral. These are not easy things, but they help teach your kids how to manage their own emotions. And so when they learn from those experiences. One, my decisions have consequences. And they learn when I experience a bummer, or when I experience a disappointment or frustration, there are better ways to express that. Yeah? Okay. So if you like this video, please say hi to me and tell me what you thought. I don't know. Just interact. Make comments because then it's fun and I can talk back to you. All right. I got to go. I'll talk to you guys later. Oh, and don't forget that next week is the Big Love workshop, Tuesday and Wednesday at 11 Pacific. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to give you so much training on basically this, like how to help your kids manage their emotions so that they can then give you the love that you're desiring. How to love them in a way that they can receive it so that they can give it back to you. So the building more love in your family. So that's next week. Yeah. Anyway, have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.